I can't imagine what it's like to lose your child in the first year of birth. I believe the pain might just break me. Imagine if being black meant that you could experience this outcome at a rate of 2 to 3 times that of any other racial group. That's right, black babies die at a rate of 7.9 deaths per thousand in Santa Clara County. Also, black women face a maternal mortality rate of 4 to 8 times that of any other group. The combination of these two factors is a genocide in slow motion. Why is this happening? And what can we do about it? Hi, I'm Chuck Cantrell. I'm here today with Kenyatta Yarn. Kenyatta, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Kenyatta Yarn. I previously lived in San Jose for about 12 to 13 years. Originally from North Carolina, but moved to San Jose to pursue my college dreams and completed at San Jose State University.
Um, when you told me your story, I remembered the profound sorrow that I felt. Um, and I think that's your story, so I'll let you tell it. It starts with you here in San Jose, right?
Yes, yes, it does. In 2021, I gave birth to a child, my son Kristopher Jordan Gibson, at I actually had him at Redwood City, Kaiser, but we were quickly transferred down to Kaiser of Santa Clara County, and due to I think it's a level 4 NICU they have available there, and so Kristopher was my first and only child. I carried him with a full healthy pregnancy for all 9 months, and tragically, on May 20th of 2021, when I went into labor at Redwood City, um, he suffered some really intense brain injuries during the labor process. And while, things are in the past now, I don't know if anything could ever be changed. There were a lot of things that happened in those moments and throughout our hospital stay and process that will always be questionable to me, or, in terms of what could have been avoided or what could have been more supportive of, even if I just could have been heard in those moments, that could have made a difference with my son's life. So,
Let's kind of back up a little bit. Um, Tell me about what your prenatal care was like.
prenatal care for me was very consistent. I feel like I was at the doctor a couple of times every month. At the time, was in my mid 30s, and so I was a little more at risk in terms of age range, birthing children. The closer women get to 40, the more stressors that we have in terms of the conditions of our body and just how much doctors want to just check and make sure things are right. And for me in particularly, I always had thyroid issues as a young person. And so my pregnancy was monitored closely. But again, I went to the hospital to doctor's appointments at least twice a month throughout my pregnancy just to make sure that everything was moving according to the plan that they had, and like progress was being made, and just screening for any abnormalities and things of that nature. Kristopher had a very healthy 9 month pregnancy. Um, we were expected to have a safe delivery. He did come about a week early, but during the prenatal care, I had a black OBGYN, and so intentionally, I love that Kaiser gives us the option to select because there's not many to select from. But fortunate for me, for Santa Clara County, I did have a black OBGYN, and she was amazing. She was staffed at one of the medical centers in San Jose, but she also worked at that main hospital as well. Unfortunately, she was not available the day that I went into delivery, and so she had no hands-on support during that process. Brand new
Hmm.
at the time.
Okay. So did you participate in any other health programs or anything in San Jose?
Yes, Black Infant Health. I was a huge part of them. They were very supportive throughout my pregnancy. After Kristopher was born, I say they were one of the number one organizations that just stepped in and actually did check ins on our just wellness in general. They made sure they provided grocery vouchers just for the in between times. I did have a full time job at that time and I was getting FMLA, but just that extra leg of support from a community that's not necessarily family, but definitely became family through the type of support that they gave me at that time. Black Infant Health was one of the best organizations that Santa Clara still has for today for that. They not only connect you to their services, they connect you to other organizations in the community that may be able to offer any type of pregnancy support or family support that you may need. And so I thought that was pretty awesome.
Well, that sounds pretty fantastic. What did that mean for you as a mom who had just gone through what you did at Kaiser?
It sounded like a relief. And even coming across Black Infant Health, I would honestly have to give credit to the African American Community Service Agency. It was a nonprofit that I used to volunteer and also work at for many years as soon as I moved to San Jose back in 2013. But I learned about Black Infant Health through the African American Community Service Agency and the prenatal programs that were all tied to that central hub for Black resources in San Jose. And so I felt like I had extended family.
So you are about to give birth at Kaiser in Redwood City.
Yes, went into labor early or one afternoon. It was on the 19th where I very started having contractions and things like that. And my roommate at the time drove me to the hospital in Redwood City, and that was the planned hospital that me and my OBGYN had discussed of where I wanted to have labor and just go through the process. And so that was all planned. Once we arrived there, they checked my vitals. I was in so much pain. I was crawling down the hallway when I went and let my roommate know that, hey, I think it's time. My water hadn't broken, but I was in severe pain that I hadn't felt the entire pregnancy. And so she rushed me to the hospital and they checked my vitals, and I was there for a few hours and they checked to see if I was dilated and things of that nature. And at that time on the 19th, they said that I wasn't dilated enough. I wasn't far enough into labor. I was in some type of pre-labor state. And even though I had been at the hospital for maybe 4 or 5 hours at that time, they basically were shooing me out to send me home. They were like, well, come back when it gets worse. And I'm like, I can't walk. I'm crawling up the hallway in my home. And I don't want this to happen at home. I need support. I need help. I'm in pain. Either something's wrong or like it's time, but I don't feel safe being unmonitored at this level of pain that I'm in and unpredictability. After that was relayed to the doctors that were on call at that time, they still were very pushy with the notion of telling me to go home until my water broke or I dilated more or the symptoms became worse.
So you
And
told them something, you felt something was wrong and that you were experiencing pretty severe pain.
mhm,
And they said, what?
they wanted to send me home. They said basically it wasn't bad enough. I don't know if they expected me to be screaming in pain, but I was in severe pain to where I could not walk down a hallway. And so to me, that tells me enough that I either need a wheelchair or something's going on that's not quite my day-to-day level of pain tolerance. And they wanted to send me home, and I didn't agree. I remember when the nurse came in, was like, well, we're just going to get you ready and then you can come back if the symptoms get worse. Um, my housemate had started getting my items together, and I was like, no, this isn't right. Bring the nurse back in, because I don't feel safe not being able to walk down the hallway and someone telling me I need to go back home and I'm this far along in pregnancy. Something is clearly happening, and I'm trying to explain to you all, and you're almost minimizing what I'm saying to you as if it's not happening, or if you just don't see the pain enough for me to be able to believe it. They didn't see my pain enough to believe it as I was explaining it out of my own mouth. And so when Nikita, which is my roommate, I'm sorry I keep referring to her as that, she's a very, very dear friend. When she goes back to get the nurse and basically tell the nurse, well, we don't want to leave because of this, the nurse kind of reiterates what she says. They're refusing to see me. They're telling me they can't do anything more until I go home and come back. As I stand up, as the nurse helps me stand up to get off that bed, in this pain, my water breaks and it's all over both of our feet now. And I'm like, oh, look at that. I am in labor. You still want me to go home? Because clearly I wasn't crazy. Clearly what I was feeling and what I was explaining to them was actually happening, to the point where they were trying to walk me out of the hospital. But thank God my water broke all over their feet to kind of back up the severe level of pain and the feelings that I was feeling inside of my body, since my words weren't enough. And so that completely changed their trajectory. And she said, well, that was quick. And she helped me get right back on the bed and get set up and prepped for the hours to come.
So
now,
can I ask you,
mhm.
you tell them you're in pain, you ask for help, they tell you you're fine, your water breaks. Was there an apology for not listening to you?
Never. There's never an apology for assuming, for not listening. Not in these type of situations. And I feel like I have a bad habit of over guilting myself, or maybe I didn't say it good enough. But I don't really know how many different ways a woman can tell you they're in pain before you believe that they're in pain, or something significantly is different than what they're accustomed to experiencing with their body is happening. I blame myself so many times for not having the right words and not feeling like I have the right words. But when I look back and I really put my brain behind it, I'm pretty articulate. I have my bachelor's degree. I've gone to school. I'm in my MBA program. I have communicated with many people. So I don't understand why my words in that moment weren't received from my healthcare specialist, or that they were so dismissed, even when the water broke and it was proven like, hey, she is in active labor. No apologies, no nothing towards it. Just continue on like, oh, okay, well, here's what's next. And expecting me to be comfortable or feel safe enough to continue to move forward with that. But nonetheless, at that day, at that time, I had no choice. I was having a baby.
Okay. So I don't want to just say it this way, but what was next?
I began to feel extremely, abnormally cold. And again, I said I suffer from thyroid issues. And so one of the symptoms of having hypothyroidism now is you have a very low cold tolerance. And so I'm literally freezing on the bed. The nurses, they bring in warm blankets. But for some reason, this cold, this chill, this teeth chattering chill would not go away. It actually just continued to get worse, to the point where I had no control over how my mouth was moving, my teeth were chattering, and all I could do was continue to ask for blankets because nothing was warming up my body. And I wasn't sure why, but it's temperature. I didn't overthink it. I just kept letting them know that I was cold. At that time, there was this pain in my neck during the push-in exercises. it felt like some odd twisted cramp. It was all over the right side of my neck, from up to my ear down to my collarbone, and it just felt like it was growing. And it was so severe that even through the pushing, the pain in my neck was more intense than what pushing and spreading myself out for my baby was doing. And at this time, there's a team of nurses around the bed during these pushing exercises, and I'm telling them, I'm in pain here, something is happening here, I don't know what's happening here, but I can't move, and it's taking away from what I can do with the pushing. And at that time, it's like no one in the room heard me. And I thought, because sometimes I'm soft-spoken, maybe no one can hear me. And so I said it louder. I was making eye contact, and I know they heard me, but it was just kind of pushed to the side. I'm trying to get my mother's attention and tell her and my sister, like, something is happening. Like, I don't think it felt like something I had never experienced before. And because it was so far away from where I essentially expected to be feeling any pain in the labor areas, I was terrified for my life. I thought, like, is this it? Like, I'm gonna push one time, or this thing, whatever's happening on the side of my neck I'm gonna black out from this. This is extreme pain, and no one hears me. Can you imagine being in a position where you're trying to ask for help, and you can hear yourself talking, and the people in the room with you can hear yourself talking and asking for help, begging and pleading and crying for help at this point, and everyone acts like they don't hear you? That's even more frightening. I don't know if the pain made it more frightening, or just the fact that I wasn't heard at all made it more frightening, because then I'm like, if I black out on this table, it's gonna still be the same. No one heard, no one's hearing me. And I know, but the people in the room can hear me, because my mother heard me. She's asking, and she's saying what I'm saying now. My sister is doing the same thing. And essentially, after hearing them both say it and completely be ignored like myself, I kind of scream it so it can't be ignored. I took everything that I had and was just like, everybody stop everything, okay? Something is happening here, and you're not listening to me. Like, listen to me was my words that I screamed out on that table. They related that I needed to put everything that I had in me behind those pushes, because the baby was not moving. At no point in time during the labor process were there any alarms going off saying that the oxygen was low or anything of that nature for the baby. But they did confirm that the baby was not moving down fast enough. They could see his head, they could touch his crown, but he just wasn't getting past the shoulders. It was quite constricted. And so in that case, the doctor informed me of a procedure that they would need to do, where they basically vacuum the baby out with an instrument. They set me up for a position with that instrument. And I still had to push and assist. And the first attempt, when they put the item on my vaginal area, and they started to apply pressure for it to vacuum the baby out, the object of whatever the vacuum is that they use, it flew off and it went across the room. It hit the wall, fell on the floor, and the doctor just starts apologizing. Like, I'm sorry. It's okay. The baby's okay. We're just going to get it set up again. And at this point, I felt the pressure. I felt the push of whatever happened when it flew across the room. But the item actually broke in that moment. And, the nurse's face were white as ghosts. I just remember, what just happened? What did that do? Because all I can imagine is some type of object being on the crown of my baby's head, or one of the softest part of a newborn baby, and it just broke in the process of using it. Did someone write that down? Can someone says what happens because that happened? But in that space, in that time, no one has any answers, and whatever you're asking is kind of being brushed off, because the main concern is getting the baby out so that we both make it. They reset the machine up. I'm talking to the doctors, they're setting up, and she assures me there's no other way around getting the baby out. We have to do the vacuum. especially since we did the first attempt. And on the second attempt, it actually worked. The baby came out, my little blue baby. He quickly gained his color. He had a few cries. I laid him on my chest. It was what every woman explains is one of the best moments of feeling what we think we know is true love. Like for myself, like that moment was true love. That first look, first glance, it was perfect. It made everything else in the world not matter, but it was truly perfect for me. I held him for a few moments, and they took him away to the incubator to get him cleaned up. And I think his breathing may have gotten a little shallow because they began to, just assess him and make sure he was okay in a way that was just a little bit more immediate. Like I felt like I wanted to hold him longer, but they were moving in a way where they just had to double check and make sure everything was okay. His head, you could see where the vacuum had been based off of the shape. And I always wonder, and again, I'll still wonder, just in regards to like, what did that vacuum popping off and flying across that room do to my child? Because before, all the scans of his brain and his body were great during prenatal. But after labor, nothing was the same. He was crying. He was making the baby noises that he needed. But I could tell something was off. Something was wrong.